Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be starting the stream relatively soon, but hope everybody had a good weekend. And if you've come from Don's stream just now, welcome. We will be starting in about 20 to 25 minutes, but it depends. If we get a lot of people in the next 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, we'll just get started, yeah? But hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, excited for another week of trading. This will be the last week of trading that I will have for 2023. At least the last week of streaming the analysis and breakdown, because I'm going home back to Hong Kong for Christmas. But if anybody is continuing to stream, just make sure that during around Christmas days or like public holidays where it's relatively global, I would say, just, try to stay off the charts, I would say. Because normally you'll have really weird volume, you'll have less people trading, price will just kind of jump around, you'll have large spreads, and it's just not going to be overall a good trading experience. So you can make up your own mind on that, but that's just, my general advice there. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We've got 9 people in here already. Jesus. Today should be a pretty good session, right? We're mainly going to be picking up where Don left off, right? So more technical analysis stuff is also completely fine, but I'd like to put somewhat of an emphasis, or generally, I'm really welcoming a lot of psychology questions. Whether that is, you think that you're not trading to your full potential due to some psychology factors, or whether that's experience based or anything really. But yeah. Hello. Got some new people in here as well. 14 people. Damn, everybody's early today. I think maybe because Don started streaming early as well. But yeah, welcome everyone. Hey everyone. Bit me some's in here. Yeah, DVS now we have 24/7 365 coverage besides public holidays, right? And besides weekends obviously. But yeah, we pretty much have full coverage of at least gold, right? Because everybody on DVS, kind of the streaming community, we all stream, we all do analysis for gold. So when one of us stops streaming, the next person's starting within like 2 hours, literally. Right, after me, when I finish in about an hour and a half, right, Wix is going to start streaming in an hour and a half, or like an hour, right? After him, Kieran's going to start streaming. And after Kieran, Janez is going to start streaming. Janez, Huss is going to start streaming, and then it's back to Don, and the cycle just repeats. But yeah, like you literally just jump onto, I would say, like the DVS community and channel, right? And just learn at any, in any continent, in any country that you are based in, you will have some analysis going around. Who's after Wix? So that's Kieran. Kieran's one of the mods. He's been around for a long time. And he does pre-London analysis. Yeah, just right before Janez, and then after Janez it's Huss, right? So that's the 3 new additions. It's after Janez was added, it was then I decided to start streaming pre-Asian, and then Huss decided to start streaming pre-New York, and then after that, Kieran was like, yeah, I might as well, and then now he's doing pre-London. Does anybody have his stream? Bit me some if you're still here. I need some mods, but yeah, we'll choose some mods in 2024. yeah, we'll see who's round and like who's kind of helping out, you know, post links and whatever for like his YouTube channels and everything. But yeah, I need some mods. Or I need somebody to upgrade my Nightbot. Let me try to find Kieran's YouTube for you guys though. There he is, EvolutionDVS. So did Nightbot just stop you from posting a link? Jesus Christ, this fucking so useless. Swear to God. Nightbot. Nightbot is so annoying. I swear I'm allowing people to post links and everything. Not sure what's going on. It's alright. I'll fix it some other time. But welcome everyone. We have 20 people in here already. We'll be starting relatively shortly. Not. We'll wait at least another 4 minutes. But it should be good. Should be good. Hope everybody is doing well as usual. Alright, I've disabled the links thing. So we should be good. But yeah, welcome back, guys. Yeah, quite a few new people as well here. Who's joining for the first time today? Type yes or type 1. I feel like there's probably at least like 3 or 4 new people here today. Yeah, nice. Welcome, Youngstar. Has everybody else been here already? Been here before? What did everybody do this weekend? Anything interesting? Or were you just FOMOing from not being able to trade over the weekend? Or were you FOMOing to some trades for like crypto or something? Because I know that's a lot of you guys. A lot of people who want to trade the weekend because they suddenly have this hole in their life where it's like, oh, I can't trade. So they look for things to trade, right? And then they start trading Bitcoin, other crypto, and it's like, bruh. Are you still got exams and final assessments? Jesus, man. When will you be done, Skirt? Watch DonVo videos? Yeah. Hey, Samira. Don doesn't really have a lot of like, I would say, content videos on his YouTube. Basically everything's just in the lives, right? All the value is in the lives because his old videos are a little bit too old, and we've kind of deviated from what the strategy is a little bit, but they're still very useful to get like the basic kind of market structure and all of that going. Wednesday, are you gonna be like done on Wednesday, or like is that, you know, do you have like another whole um like in a whole phase or something? Yeah, all day analysis. Yeah, one more semester then done. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. finally we got Nav in here. We've been waiting for you, Nav, because we have no mods. We have nobody to moderate these people. They're all over the place. Do you reckon you'll find a job after you finish, or are you gonna go full-time trading immediately? Chat has now become prison. Welcome to jail, guys. Nav will be your warden. You gotta take a prop firm challenge to try with it. Yeah, go ahead. I would suggest going with like a really small one first, just to kind of feel it out. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I would suggest find a job first. At least like, even if it's it doesn't have to be like a full-time job, just something that will cover most of your expenses, I would say, so that you're not reliant on trading. Because once you're reliant on trading, it's whoa, suddenly you're forced to make money, right? Because if you don't, you can't pay your bills, and now that'll just put you in a quite a bad spot, I would say. Yeah, I think work from home is like the most ideal, to be honest. Because if you're just working from home, like what you can probably get away with like looking at the charts every 15 minutes, right? Getting better every day with streams. Yeah, that's the goal, right? You get done with your 9 to 5, right on time for New York session. Oh, that's pretty good. Like, I think New York session is like right in between. I think it's like right at lunch for me. So it's a little bit annoying, but it's okay. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Yeah, honestly, if you just tune into any of the DVS streamers, you'll definitely learn a lot about streaming. There's so much content here. New York starts 5 p.m. Oh, nice. Dubai no taxes as well. Ooh. I think that's the dream, right? When you trade, go to like a low tax location. Right. Reckon we're gonna get started in 3 minutes here. We have 25 people around. Overall, I would say the main thing to keep in mind for this week, right, is the markets don't owe you anything, right? You're coming back. It's a new week, right? Whether you took a loss, break evens, or some wins last week, none of that matters anymore, right? All that matters is that you have your strategy, you have a plan, and that you're going into this week just trading your strategy and trading your plan, sticking to the plan, right? If that setup looks like, oh, cool, that looks like what I'm looking for at the moment, right? Then cool, take it, right? You don't have to be scared because it is your plan. If you've planned for this, for the last like 2-3 hours, take it, right? Because you're going to regret not taking it if it plays out, right? And if you're trading our strategy, we have a higher win rate, right? So if you're not taking it, there's a higher chance that you'll kind of regret it, right? So definitely stick to your plan. And whether that's a loss, whether that's a break even, whether it's a win, it doesn't matter, right? You will just take that every single time. But remember that, don't FOMO into trades if price just kind of starts gapping all over the place. If it starts gapping up or down, don't just get into a trade, right? Just like last Sunday when we were here, we looked at, price pushing up to all-time highs. We may get a gap again this week, but which direction the gap will be, I don't know. Where's the price going to go after the gap? I don't know, right? Is there going to be a gap? I don't know, right? But just don't FOMO into trades. Wait for some sort of structure. Wait for your setup. Wait for your entry, and then you can trade, right? If it doesn't align with exactly what you want, you can't get in. I can't get in. Don can't get in, right? Nobody can get in. So in that case, there's nothing we can do. We just wait for the next setup, right? But essentially, that's what we're waiting for. So, welcome back, everyone, to another day of. I have to put the live chat as well. Can you guys see the chat? Is chat reloading? Fantastic. All right, cool. Welcome back, everyone. We are doing an analysis on gold, and I'm going to get straight in. So for all the new people who have joined, on Sundays we typically look at market structure because there's the weekly opening that's going to be happening in 40 minutes, right? So what are we expecting price to do for the next week, right? Fantastic. Oh, I haven't been on charts for a weekend. Feels nice to come back. Right, we always start from the monthly. Monthly is our go-to, right? The first stop of our kind of analysis train. And cool. I can draw one line and that basically says everything for the monthly, to be honest, right? You've been in this range or anything below 1989, 1991, I think was our level previously, right? 1991, you have been below this area since gold has begun, right? You have never once closed above on the monthly time frame. Last month, November, you closed above. We are currently 10 days into into December, and with that closure above, we pushed up, right? We were expecting a range fill up to 2870, right? 75. We got that range fill, and now after the range fill, what do? Price gapped, right? In the weekly opening, started pushing up to all-time highs towards 2150. But at that point, could you have expected buys to go up or whatever, right? If we just look at the hourly, or like, let's say even the 15-minute time frame last Sunday night, right? Looking at these are 15-minute candles during the week. These are 15-minute candles during last week, right? But these were 15-minute candles during the gap. Were you able to trade any of this? No. This 15-minute candle was a total of 650 pips, right? These other ones, obviously they were smaller, but still 160 pips or whatever, right? So you can't trade that. You don't have stops. You don't have anything to kind of base your TP, your stop loss, or your advantage point on. You have nothing. So in the case that price gaps up, nothing we can do, right? Because you don't know if it's going to go all the way up, back up again, because you have your monthly closure above, or you don't know if the price is just going to start gapping down and, maybe it'll flip because you're respecting it. It is going to go up later on, right? You don't know if it's going to go up or down at this point. Or we can say that with the way price is looking on the monthly, right, we've created a steeper bottom wick and we're looking to come down, right? So based off of just this time frame, we're relatively bearish, right? Understanding that price has already filled the range, grab liquidity outside of the range. So if we get a range 2 breakout now, whereas you get like a breakout below 1991, right? We'll be looking to take these sells down. Whether that is in the form of celery, whether that's the form of, a break of previous lows, we will still need top wicks and everything. But generally, I would say the monthly time frame is bearish, right? After you have produced quite the top wick, right? 1,100 pips, quite the top wick. So moving on to the weekly, we have a weekly closure, which is a very strong indication of what price wants to do, and that has closed back into the range below 2035, right? Previously, we've never had a closure above. We had a closure above last week, and we closed at around 2073 sorts of areas. This week, we created a top wick for the first, couple hours. We started driving down, and now we're at 2004. So we've closed back into this range. What has price done every single time it's closed back into this range, right? Looking at this, right? And looking at this. These are the only 3 times in history the price has done that, right? We're now back to 1833, where there is no more chart data. And the only three times price has, touched around 2033, the 2035, are these three levels. So currently we have a fake out, right? Coming back into this range. Every time that happened, you had a fill towards here. So where did we kind of land afterwards, right? You came down to these areas. So I'm going to mark this up, right? I'm going to mark this up as this level. Can mark this as like, you could kind of reject from anywhere from these areas all the way down to these areas, right? So I'm going to mark up these areas, right? So in general, it's looking like we're probably going to tap around 19, I would say probably now 1930 sorts of areas, just off of the weekly, right? So you have a bottom of your range here, right? Some sort of support here. You have some range being tapped here, right? So that's your next range coming down. This is your weekly range, right? So now that you've got a closure back into the range, what can we look? Because if we're understanding that price wants to drive down, what can we look for to take these sells down, right? What's that going to be in the form of? Probably top wicks to come down, right? So where are the top wicks, right? We can't really determine that as accurately on the weekly, but we can try, right? So last time we came back down, look at this, we had this, right? Yeah, top wicks around 2023. You obviously had some more top wicks around 2048, but I would say just based off the weekly, you're looking at some top wick in these ranges, right? I'd say overall around these areas. So anywhere between 2017 and 2052, which currently I have absolutely no idea, just based off the weekly and monthly, where that is going to be. All right. So let's jump to the daily, but the weekly, very bearish, right? Because got a fake out back into the range. You had no top wick for the previous weekly. So once you created a steeper top wick and you're flipping, understanding that if this was the 5 chart, you'd expect this to come down, right? You'd expect this to come down either to break these areas to grab liquidity if it wants to come back up, or it's just going to start pumping down now, right? So daily, right? Let's have a look at the daily. Daily is fantastic as well. We have a bearish closure below the range, right? Have we broken into this range? It looks like we have, but let's try to solidify this range a little bit more. It looks like this area is not too bad, right? We might have to detail it a little bit further on the 4-hour, but at the moment, it's not looking bad, right? I could put it somewhere around here. So let's look at what this level is. It's just a daily, but it looks like it's probably a little bit higher. So I'm liking 2007. So now that we've closed bearish below 2007, I would say we're looking to take price down, right? And where did price break into every time we close below, right? We're looking at this. You grab top wicks around these areas, right? Anywhere around these areas. So anywhere around these areas, you could come back all the way up to 2047 to come back down, but we're understanding that you may not need to, right? Last time you had these kind of candles here printing around 2040, 2039 sorts of areas. You started coming down, came down to these areas, right? You got a breakout below, you tapped into these, right? These areas, you had a tap into these areas as well. Previously here, you got a break below, tap into these areas, and you started, that's where you started rejecting first, right? You did come back up to grab more liquidity to come down, but that's where you tapped first. In these cases, this kind of just went straight down, this went straight down. No point of analyzing that because it's just a straight push down. And I think, is that it? That is it. Okay. So if that's basically what we're looking at, right? We're understanding that this area seems to be tapped pretty often, right? So our daily range, probably looking to take price down towards around here. I would say this is probably your level, right? At 1981, these areas is likely to get tapped, right? Because if you tap down to here, you tap down to these areas, you have some wicks here, right? If it starts breaking below, cool. Our next range down is probably around 1953. But for now, on our daily, we're probably looking to take price down towards around 1981 sorts of areas, right? I think we mentioned last week that price on the monthly time frame, if it flips, we have a goal on the monthly time frame that will tap 1992, 1991, which we haven't yet. We're close, right? We tapped into 1994, 1995, so we're around 20, 30 pips away, but off the daily, it's looking like we're going to break out below any given point. Price will just grab a top wick for us to continue down, right? So what is that going to look like? That is going to look like this, where you have a top wick, right, to come down to fill the range, right? And that's what we're expecting price to do. right? So where's this top wick going to be? That's my next question. Where are we expecting these sales to come down? Because this is the weekly and also the daily, right? The weekly wasn't very clear for us. So where's the daily going to give us that kind of confirmation? Last time I was looking at these areas, right? You get some wicks around there. You also have some wicks around these areas, but you didn't get a closure below last time, right? Let's look left. Last time you got a closure below, you had something towards these areas, right? So cool. If you're looking to tap into these areas on the daily, right? We're just going to mark that up for now. Don't think there's anything here. I mean, you still also grabbed a little bit of liquidity around these areas. So cool. 2012, we'll put that there for now, right? We're going to look on the smaller time frames first to see if price, tapped into these areas that we're very much specifically looking at to take price down, right? But the 4-hour is looking pretty nice, right? It's looking like it stopped around this area because it doesn't have enough liquidity to continue pushing, right? You had low volume towards the end of Friday, so price needs to grab a little bit more liquidity before you're able to come down, and that's going to be in the form of a retracement, right, to come back up potentially, and that will be your weekly top wick. That'll be your daily top wick, and it'll start coming down, right? So your 4 hours also, closing, respecting 2007, I would say. Generally, you have a level. I would say 2007 is not bad of a level. Yeah, so last time you closed below, but then also respecting, you came up to grab top wicks at around these areas. So 2014 is now looking like a clearer level to me, right? So what I'm looking at is more specifically this, right? This, right? At any given point, you could come back up to 2022 as well, right? So I would say because your weekly needs to create a top wick, you probably will come up slightly. There's a higher chance that price will come up slightly higher, right? We don't know yet, right? But our goal is 1981, right? So we're trying to mirror this push down, yeah? So now that we've closed bearish below, bullish respecting, any given point, price could range here for the next couple of hours, right? And potentially during New York or London, maybe it'll tap into these areas, towards these areas, right? But you're understanding that as long as you respect 2007, there's a high chance this is going to be a fake out, right? Because you're in this range and you haven't filled the entire range, right? Look at this. You were in this range, you filled the range. You were in this range, you filled, came up, filled every single time. So there's a high chance you're gonna see 1981 get tapped. It's just about where can you get those top wicks, and are you going to take those, wick entries versus are you going to take the flip potentially? All right, but just on the 4-hour, it's looking pretty clear that you may get a first entry towards around 2011 or whatever, or maybe a first entry towards around 2014, and to take price down to potentially, at least towards 2007, I would say, and then you may get runners towards 1981, but that's quite far away. How many pips is that? Yeah, I don't know if we're going to hold 300 pips, right? But maybe that could be our swing, right? So that could be what we're looking for there. Let me just have a look here because we also have a little bit of data around these areas, right? So last time you closed respecting, you filled the range before you came up, right? You did grab more liquidity towards 2008, right? But you filled the entire range before. So there's less accurate data for us here. This is why you have to look on the smaller time frames as well, because these top wicks on the higher time frame, they stack for multiple candles. For example, the daily will have multiple 4 candles, right? The 4-hour will have 4 1-hour candles. So you kind of have to look on the smaller time frame to see the detail, but the higher time frame gives you the direction, right? So I'm actually going to be looking for sells around here. Sell wicks. The only condition, oops, what? Okay, that has gone through. Okay, the only condition that has to be met is that the weekly and the daily has no bottom wick, right? So if the daily, obviously we're also maybe going to see a gap as we kind of open up for this week, but if the gap takes us all the way up to 2014, I can't take it, right? Because the gap could just be the very beginning of the push, similar to last week where you just get this massive push. So I'm going to need price to stabilize a little bit. What's that going to be in the form of? Potentially coming back down to retest these lows first. All right, so what I'm going to need is obviously the price is not just going to come up out of nowhere all the way up to 2014 because that's like 100 pips away. So it's going to need a little bit of liquidity on the smaller time frame. So what's that going to look like? You're probably going to see some range, right, on the smaller time frame, between potentially, let's have a look. Yeah, like you'll probably see a range between 2007 and 1996, which is the range we're currently in. And as you range there, we're probably going to be looking for sales to continue down, right? Um, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. So what I'm going to need is potentially some bottom wicks like this, right? Coming down, right? And then you may get something that looks more like a liquidity grab or a fake out to come back up, back into this range, right? This is a smaller time frame, right? Which is why I'm drawing so many candles. If you get something like this, right, cool. You'll retest the top of the range, which is, let's say, towards 2007 at the moment. As that happens, right, what I'll need for these sells to be valid is price to respect this area, right? If price respects this area, any given point, next candle just wicks up. I'll look for a wick entry to take that down, right, to at least fill this range, which is from 2002 down to 1976, which is still a 60 pip range, right? So that'll be the flip entry, either or the wick entry, depending on how far this candle has pushed. If this candle has pushed all the way down, it might be difficult for us to get entries, right? If this candle has, you know, just kind of respected very small kind of rejection like that, it's also slightly difficult, like especially if it's like a doji candle, right? If it's something that looks like this, it's difficult for us to get into a position, right? Because you don't know if that's actually, you know, it's just kind of a candle that you can ignore. It hasn't really done anything for 5 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever the time frame is. But in general, if price does this where it doesn't break, I would say these candles can't really break the lows. So draw it up like that, right? If these candles don't really break these lows and then it comes up to grab liquidity, cool, I can get in. But if price, and this can happen as well, right? If price starts coming down hard, right? You create a top wick like this and you start pushing like this, then what I'll look for is potentially the break of these lows instead, right? Or a break of these lows instead, because you've come up to grab liquidity. I don't know where the liquidity will be specifically, right? I'm just trying to think about where it's likely to be in terms of previous price action, and that looks to be around 2014, right? But if it comes up all the way above these areas, right, obviously the structure will tell us that we're not looking to get those sells anymore. The structure is probably telling us that we're looking for flips instead, right? So as that happens, right, we can look to take, you know, the flip of certain candles like the 4 hour, the hourly to come down. But if price at this moment comes down, right, closes respecting still, I probably can't look for this. Next candle, if it grabs liquidity and then comes down, breaks this level in terms of a closure, I'll look for this off the rip, right? Because there's a high chance that you've already grabbed liquidity, right? You've also got a closure below the range. And this is where the setups and entry make perfect sense for you, right? Because you have liquidity, you have a breakout, right? And then the only thing left is your entry. And the entry in this case will be either if price comes up really quickly, right? Then cool, yeah, we'll look for a sell stop. But if price is kind of just like you have time to enter, probably just off the rip. That will be the decision around there. But it's gonna take a while to print, right? Especially, you know, around these areas, and especially because the weekly open, you may see some, you know, sporadic volume that's just kind of around. Wait for price to settle. If it's printing huge candles off the rip, it's going to be difficult to take anything, just like last Sunday, yeah. But if it's kind of slower and whatever, I'd say give it like a couple hours. Wait till Wix is starting his stream, his Asian session, because at that point you have, you know, the guaranteed volume of Asian session, but you also have let price kind of, you know, settle down a little bit for the weekly open, I would say. At the moment, I can't look for any buys. The only thing I am looking for are sells, mainly because it's difficult to look for any buys at the moment. The only thing I could potentially try to look for is, you know, did we tap into these areas before we got into a buy? Or like potentially, let's say price did something like this. If price continues to range in this area, right, within these kind of 2 4 hour candles, or these 3 4 hour candles, you then come down this next 4 hour, breaks all the lows. I may be able to look for some buys on the flip to go up. Let me try to locate that on the hourly. Yeah, so something like this, right? Where you have a range here, right? And then your next candle, you're still in the range. You're potentially respecting some range at around like 2000 or whatever, right? That we can try to see if this is a actual range. You've come down, broken all the lows. I don't know if this is coming down at this point, right? So what I can do is potentially look for a breakout above, right? Or maybe as this candle is flipping, I can look to take this up, right? So let's have a look to see what this 2000.903 level is. Maybe 30, 15, whatever. Okay, you may have a level towards these areas. 2000.48. It's not too bad. It's not too shabby of a level. All right, we'll leave it there for now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you may see that on like the hourly time frame, but that's what I mean by structure, right? If price at this point does something similar where it comes down, right? But it's still respecting. Next candle comes up, right? Oh, cool, we're respecting, right? And then the following candle comes down, breaks all the lows, potentially even this low, right? And then starts flipping up. We'll look to take the flip, right? Because the flip will at least take us up to 2007, right? And that we'll definitely risk free around this area anyways if we're taking the flip, because the flip is around here, right? Or wherever. That's what we're looking for, this bottom wick to drive price up, and you may be able to hold some buys all the way up to the sell level, right? But likely you'll just be because it depends on how deep this liquidity is. If this liquidity comes down all the way, breaks this low, cool, you can probably hold some runners, right? If price doesn't, for example, if price just does something in the form of this, which breaks it very like just a little bit, at that point I'll probably wonder if I'll actually take this. I'll probably need it to tap certain levels, which I can actually look at on the 4 and the 1, right? So where did we tap last time? Last time we tapped into these areas, which is around here. So 1995. So if price is respecting overall, I would say, let's say on like the, yeah, okay, cool. On the 30 and the hourly, right? If we're respecting 2000, then that's what I look for. So if you get a candle coming down, right, respecting or whatever, as long as you're above this level, next candle comes down, taps into 1995, I'll look for a buy on the flip here. That'll be my buy stop, right? I'll look to take this up to here, and then I'm understanding that if price wants to come down, it probably needs to create a weekly top wick, all right? And that'll be in the form of 2014. So that's what I look for. Does that make sense to everyone? I think that's relatively, it's not too difficult today, I would say, but there is obviously the weekly open, there's going to be some difficulties there. So just watch price, right? If you're not certain, I'm not certain what price is going to do when it opens up, so I'm just going to watch. And as it comes out, we'll look for, whatever happens, we'll react. But yes, let me get rid of all these annotations. But that's basically it. So you may be able to get some buys on the flip. I can't write that because it depends on price action. But where I need liquidity to be grabbed for buys is around 975. Where I need liquidity to be grabbed for sells, probably 2014. Right. So either one of these levels will get tapped. I don't know which one will get tapped first. Right. Ideally, you get the 975 and then the 2014 because then that matches exactly what we were looking at. But at any given point, you could just rip up to 2014 because of the gap, right? And then start coming down. And in that case, we'll probably look to take some sells below 974. Once you get some closures, potentially on like the hourly or whatever, below certain ranges, let's say like probably below here, to be honest. Below like here, 1985. I mean, you can, it's a little bit messy around these areas. Yeah, maybe below 1995, around these areas, you can probably look to take some sells to come down. That's why I can't get the buy wicks, right? Because if it comes down to 1995 and then I just take a buy wick, we're so bearish. You don't need to come down, right? Maybe the momentum from the monthly, like all of this here is enough for us to continue driving down, right? And in that case, I can't look for anything in terms of a buy wick. All I'll need more confirmation essentially, and that'll be in the flip, wherever that candle is that's respecting 2000. But yeah, that's basically analysis, guys. Let me just look at a couple questions. Oh yeah, if you guys have any psychology questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, right? We're trying to host more of a psychology Sunday sort of session. How do you manage your stop loss on a funded account? So what I was doing previously, and I was doing like, I was trading a funded for 2.5 months, I think. And then I just realized it's just slow to take a trader funded. But what I was doing, and I was working, was you just under risk, honestly. So I had enough margin for 5 pineapples. So, for example, if 5% is your max drawdown, right? Then you just all your trades have 1% drawdown for your stop loss. And whether that's 100 pips or whatever, then that just makes your lot size even lower, right? Think that worked, but it was relatively slow. So I might, whenever I start another funded, I'm trading my live at the moment. But whenever I try another funded, I'll probably look to probably try a different strategy. I'm working with Huss at the moment to see what works, but yeah. What do you think about 2017 as a liquidity grab? 2017. Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to there, if it comes up to there, you could, right? Towards around these areas. Definitely could. It's not out of the question, right? Let me unmute some boys. Hello. How are you doing? Did you catch the analysis? Nice.
It's over. Who really knows where it's going to go right now?
Yeah, just exactly. Yeah. We'll just wait. Because your last on Friday, right? You pushed pretty hard on the daily just to come down, and I'd imagine this bottom wick was just because the weekly wanted to close with the bottom wick to confirm that it's going to continue down. I see it less of it as a rejection and more just, price needing to, create some structure before you can like grab short-term liquidity to come down. But
it still closed within, so the rejection wasn't enough to show it as a.
what was that?
Rejection. It's still closed within the range, even if it's a.
Yeah, like even if it's here, like if your level is right here, still closed below, right? It's pretty much closed below on every time frame. So, and your 4 hour, like unless you're looking at this, but I'm looking at that, like, cause look at these wicks, right? I'm probably looking around these areas. Yeah, it's looking relatively clean, at least for the beginning of the month. We'll see where it takes us, but I'm sure there'll be a couple curveballs as you come. Can we just get out at a number instead and take the L? Let's say you're funded 50k when you're 500 in drawdown. Take the L and move on. I've busted funding accounts before following Don. I usually put 3 lots on, is that gold? Yeah, on gold on a 50k and take profit at 3. Thing is, if you're doing a 3 lot and you're taking profit at 30 or 40, 300, 400, you're basically taking profit at a monetary value, right? You're not taking profit at a level which price is likely to reject at. We based everything on logic. So, for example, if we got into a trade, like let's say we got in on a breakout here, right? Cool, we're in a breakout. Let's say we took this off the rip because you grabbed some liquidity. I'm not going to be just looking for 10 pips and then leaving, right? Let's say I put this below my liquidity grab around these areas, right? So what's that? Okay, 110 pips. Perfect, right? Yeah, 3 lots on 100k is, on 50k is over risking. But let's say we're doing this. I'm just trying to demonstrate the fact that you're closing full or like taking profit at like 300 to 400, which is a money value, right? Which is, I think 10 pips is 300 on a 3 lot. But at this case, I'm going to be looking to go break even here on this wick fill, right? Or potentially even this wick fill, because it's the 4 hour time frame. So if you drop down to whatever, say you grabbed liquidity, you were looking for a breakout above, let's say you got in here, right? You got to break out above, finally, right? Obviously, I wouldn't have been in this trade because you have no bottom wick. But anyways, you'd understand that you'd probably want to go break even as you're tapping into these areas, right? Because that's where you're next likely to reject. So I'm not looking at, okay, is this $300 or if this is $400. I'm just looking at where the next likely area price is going to reject at. And if that's 3 pips, if that's 4 pips, right, then I probably won't be looking to take the trade because it's too small of a range. But if it's like, 9 pips, 10 pips, 11 pips, or 12 pips, cool, then that's a pretty valid area which I can kind of look to go break even at. Once I go break even, cool, like these areas, it's tapped here, I go break even. Worst case, I hit stop loss, and that's going to be break even trade, right? But we usually, look to take bits of profits or like, partials or close full at those levels because price can reject there. We don't know what prices, like we can estimate and like predict where price is likely or the high chance of prices, it could tap these areas or whatever, but realistically, it can go anywhere, especially on a lower time frame, right? So I would say when you're looking at just trading in general, don't think of it as like a monetary thing. Like if you see 300, oh shit, that's $300. Let me close full. No, right? If you're trading a 3 lot, and obviously that's over risking, but let's say you're trading a 1 lot, right? And it comes up to $100. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, that's it. I'm going to be looking at the charts, seeing like, okay, what is price doing? Is it rejecting here, right? So look at this. You had a closure which was just about at this level. Your wick didn't break this area. Cool. Is this going to be rejection? There's a high chance, right? You haven't broken above. So what could I wait for? I could, just go stop loss to break even here, hit break even, and look for the next opportunity, which is potentially this, right? You could take a buy here because you grabbed even more liquidity. You don't need a top wick. You can just take it all the way up. At this point, cool. You look at where your next advantage point is, and you just kind of take that up. But I guess that is also a psychology thing to not really base it on how much money that trade is at the moment. Does that kind of make sense? Mind-boggling mysteries. What percentage of my personal account am I risking? Like 2% per trade, I think. Yeah, 2% around. But yeah, I definitely think trading a live is very different to trading a funded. So how do you find it? Do you find it difficult to not care about the amount of money you win or lose in trading? I feel like it is. When you start off, it is difficult, right? Because you're obviously in trading to make money. But you have to understand that if you continue down that mindset, you will continue to lose money only. Because the issue is you're every time. So for example, when you scale up, right? When you scale up, you're now trading 10 lots, 20 lots, 30 lots, as Don is, right? When you see $300, are you still going to be like, oh shit, that's $300, let me get out? But $300 on a 30 lot is 1 pip, right? So is that the same? Does that apply for when you lose $300? You're going to panic. But the price only moved 1 pip, right? That's 1 tick. What can you do? So that's the issue. Like you have to have a mindset that's strong enough to combat that. Right? You can't continue to be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's $300, but as you continue to scale, 300 may be 1%, 300 maybe then becomes 0.1%, maybe 0.01%, right? But yeah, like it's definitely an issue to be like to care about money. It's not easy, and I think that's a lot of that's a huge reason why a lot of traders fail, because trading is definitely still a money's game, but the winners care about strategy. Yeah, thank you very much. 300 is usually 10 to 15 pips, and I get out at the same time. Usually apex funding, so every stop loss or profit. Yeah. I mean, that's just the same as every single funded, right? Mind-boggling mysteries. But I think you need to. I mean, for you to become like a really profitable trader in the future, you need to focus on the skill at the moment, and the skill is not worrying about how much money that is. You know, like I traded a 0.01 lot for like 4 months, just because I needed to understand. Okay, the money doesn't matter, but I still need to trade that money. Like I'm still losing, $1, $2, or whatever it is, but that kind of makes me understand, okay, cool, like, is this trade setup entry, is that profitable, right? I needed to learn the strategy, and then after that I can just scale up my lot size. Used to think that money value all the time on trades, focusing on structure. Yeah, focus on the, yeah, exactly. The skill, right? Once you build the skill, and like you need to disassociate, you need to separate money and the skill, because the skill doesn't involve any money, but the money involves skill, right? If you have no skill, you can't make any money, right? But if you have a lot of money with no skill, you also can't make any money, right? That's why the skill is so important. Yeah, so I think that's one of the issue with trading fundeds is they give you a goal, right? Well, it's not like a goal that you need to achieve in like a specific time frame, but yeah, like if you use a one lot, it's gonna take months, right? For my 100K, I was trading on one lot, and it took me 2 months, and I was like, okay, this is just taking ages, right? And that's just how it is. Yeah, like the thing is, though, even if it's a 0.2%, whatever, right? You understand that is still a percentage. You're still making money, right? But what matters more is the fact that you got into that trade and you won. So in the future, obviously on a fund it's slightly more difficult, right? But in the future, let's say you're trading your own account. At that point, 0.2%, maybe you'll love it because say that's 100K, right? 0.2%, suddenly that's what? That's $200. That's money that you can just have in your bank. My Mr.
So
Every, yeah, what's up?
it took you 2 months to pass it.
No. I blew the funded.
Yeah, but you passed it originally. How long did it take you to pass it?
Pass what? I've never passed a funded.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I've only opened two fundeds to be fair. Um, my first funded was a 5K, which I was like, okay, let me see how aggressive I can be with this. And that was just kind of like a trial. And then that was like, okay, I mean, it went all right for a bit. And then I just decided, okay, just to kind of test it to the extreme like level. And then I blew that one, which was like, what 5K is like, what, $20 or $30 or whatever. Um, so that was fine. The 100K, basically, I was like trading the same strategy as you guys, right? So 1%, 2% risk every single time. And just over time, I was like, okay, cool. This is like, it was going up. At some point, I was at like 7.4%. Um, and then I took some like relatively shittier trades because that's where the money kind of got me, right? Because I'm struggling with this stuff as well. Like I got to around 7.7%. I was like, oh yeah, I'm only like $300 away from phase one, right? So I took some trades, and then it came back down. I was like, okay, shit. And I built it back up again, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm getting there again. But then after that, it was like around 2 months, and I was just like, okay, the 5% drawdown limit is so, it is constricting. Like, it is annoying.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 100K funded, but effectively it's like a 10 or a 5K.
Yeah, it's essentially a
Whatever,
5K funded. Yeah.
yeah,
Which is annoying. But because you're trading, like you want to make 8%, right? But you're only allowed to risk 5%. So it's like they've given you a challenge, which is, I mean, it's doable, right? If you look at Huss and everybody else, they did it, right? And eventually I'll get it down as well. It's just you kind of have to play both the game of a funded and how to pass funded challenges, and also play the game of trading.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ours seem to take higher lot size, very high probability.
yeah. So I've spoken to quite a few people, and essentially, it's more fundeds are just numbers games. So if you can pass phase one really quickly, then cool. There's a higher chance that you'll be able to fund that account, get that account funded, because and it will like either you take it really really slow, or you just kind of try to fund it immediately, almost. Yeah, yeah. It's more playing the game of fundeds, but yeah, like once I jumped off the funded, well, I jumped back to my live, and then after that, I think what? Yeah, I made like a silly amount last week. Like in
You said
terms of,
you went up like 15% one day.
yeah, I think I was up like 23% for the week on my live, because I did some I was in the trade that Don was, and I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So I stacked a couple. Um, I think it was here, like here, like this 15 as it came up. I think I had like an entry, I had two entries here, and then I had two entries on the wick, and then it came up all the way here, and I closed full here. So basically, that's what happened. And then I took a couple trades going down here, because these made a lot of sense. And then as it came up, I think this was the hourly flip as well. Took the hourly flip to come down. And then, yeah, I had like four positions here, two positions here, and two positions here. So like 8 positions. So for 15% in like one day with 8 positions, it's around like what, 2% per position?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So still not crazy
100%
numbers.
month.
Nah, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, I can't trade after next week, right? So we'll see. But yeah, but yeah. How did I actually blow the funded? Yeah. So essentially, we were in the trade here, right, with Don. So I had enough margin to take us down to 2019 or whatever, and I think literally as it came down to here, it slipped me. Um, Sorry, it didn't slip me into this trade, but like I think I put my level one like a little bit too short. Like my calculations were a little bit wrong, and the 5K limit was like around, like just around like there or something. Um, and yeah, that's essentially what happened. So I needed to, I did bad measurement basically. I calculated it wrong. But if not, it would have been fine. Like if I just calculated it here, it would have been fine, right? But you live and you learn. It's all right. With my live account, I've already made enough to buy another 100K funded, so it's about the same. Does that answer everybody's questions? Yeah, like you guys need to understand that obviously I know how to trade, I would say, and I know the strategy quite well. Doesn't mean I'm a fully profitable trader yet, right? I am learning as much as you guys are. So you guys can race me to profitability if you want.
You only have a minor head start.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of a head start. Also, I feel like going to the in-person definitely improved my analysis a lot. You can't get into Finder. What's Finder? That's just, you can't have a bullshit reason to take account away. What's Finder? Have I made more than I lost? No, 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 no. I only started trading like, what, March, right? You can't get into funded? Yeah, I don't think, no, to be fair, my one wasn't a bullshit reason. Like, it was legit. I just did the calculation wrong, so that's my bad. Oh, no, 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 I definitely have not made, yeah, yeah. So I started in March, right? And I think it's like I controlled my risk quite heavily when I started because I knew, we're probably gonna man's probably gonna lose some money before we make some, right? But yeah. Oh, sorry. Weekly has opened. No, not that big of a gap. We're okay. Only gap to 2007, but this is good, right? You're still kind of coming up. I think, yeah, starting in March, so it's been around like what, 7.5, 8 months now. It's been pretty good. You know, definitely grown a lot this year. Like if I think about all the things that I've done this year, right, just in terms of trading, I've learned this entire strategy, right? I've gone to Miami, met Don, Wicks, and everybody there. I developed the trading journal, right? I'm, in works with Don to do some other educational stuff, right? Um, yeah, this so much has been done. So we'll see where 24 takes us. Like, I'm not in a rush or anything, right? We'll just see how it goes. With Apex, it's only one step, 50 account, which is 3K to get funded, but there's a catch. If you want to cash out after, you have to be $100 over the drawdown. Oh, okay. Ah, fair enough. I mean, that's just another game to play, right? I mean, like, as long as you understand all the rules of your funded company, then that's fine. That's the key thing. Because if you don't, then you can get fucked by some of the rules, right? I think some people, I'm not too sure on this, but like I think phase ones and phase twos have different rules. But as long as you understand exactly what the rule is, exactly what your criteria are, 9 times out of 10, even if you kind of get, fucked over or whatever, it's still, you can potentially argue your way back. Have you been looking at GJ? I do not look at GJ, but maybe we will start. This is history, Johnny. I've never looked at GJ in my life. Well, I have, but oh,
I used to look at it.
Wanda, let's go. All right, let's do the same analysis for GJ. Who?
But GG is fucked because it has random BOJ interventions.
What's that?
Oh, well, sometimes the Bank of Japan just decides it's going to buy a bunch of currency.
Oh yeah, lovely. It
So
only started in 2003. Jesus.
occasionally in your trade, you just drive like 300 pips.
Fair. Who wants me to do a GJ trade? Is there a need for a
Just
GJ
anyone
trade?
right now.
I mean, I'll probably do a GJ. I mean, there's a chance we'll go back to GJ. Does anybody want me to do a GJ? Yeah?
Wait, we're back at 181 now.
Yeah, we've come up quite a lot. We were down here last year. Well, no, 2 years ago. Last year we were here. 150. It doesn't sound like anybody wants me to do a GJ trade besides 2 people. Out of the 72 people here, nobody wants me to look at GJ to do another analysis for you guys? Wow. I see. How about main levels for GJ or for gold? Oh, you think account flipping? I think account flipping depends on what your strategy is. Definitely. It's kind of weak. I don't think it's weak. I think, we can definitely come back to it eventually. I mean, just have a look very briefly. You have a monthly support here. You're probably going to come down, right? Because you've tapped into these areas. Grab a little bit. You probably need more liquidity to come up. Probably towards these areas, right? Let's call them probably bearish till there. Weekly wise, you closed very heavily bearish last week. Okay. So this is probably, if you want to continue going up, you don't know what price is going to do at the moment, right? But you're probably bearish at least to come down towards, I would say, like the bottom of the range, which is around these areas. So you probably will get a wick fill. You might tap into these areas before you start heading back up. Daily, you closed, okay, yeah, you just need a daily top wick. So actually, let me keep that.
you see, I think this daily candle was they announced there was some meeting and they announced that they were going to move away from negative interest rates. So
Ah, I see.
yeah,
Yeah, it moves a lot based off that then, I guess.
700 pips.
Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, I mean, your daily closed bullish, respecting, I would say. So any given point, your full range is down to around, I would say, at least 180 here, right? Maybe you have another advantage point towards around these areas, right? And then if you want to break that, you're probably going to come down to 177, but it's looking like you want to come down, right? Based off of what price looks like. You have no top wick. Your daily candle did come down, so expect it to come up first. As you're coming up, you're probably expecting it to tap around these areas, I would say, to grab liquidity to continue down. So if you're looking for wick entries, I'll probably look for wick entries around here to take sells. What did the previous daily look like? I'm just going to do the day up to daily analysis. All right, so we're looking for liquidity to get grabbed here. Yeah, sells around these areas, right? It's exactly what I'm looking for if I was to trade. I'll put it around there, and then your stop loss. I don't know what the stops or pips mean. So what is that? Oh, it's literally just 10 pips. This is 10 pips, right? Is that how that works? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just have to trade like a higher lot size, right? I think that's how it works. And then you maybe get some. Oh, that push maybe 80 pips. Okay, cool. Yeah, you'll probably look to go break even towards around 182.4 anyways, but you can probably hold runners to here. But yeah, sells wicks around there. That's probably what I'm looking for at the moment. Pretty bearish, mate. But yeah, that's about it for
I think
GJ.
on Don's website it says that you count the pips like one decimal further back on GJ
Oh, okay.
compared to gold.
Yeah. So on gold, the points it shows like 100 for 10 pips. So yeah. This is nice though. Daily's coming up, right? We wanted the daily to come up first, right? But I can't take any buys because your daily has no bottom wick. Can I take a sell at this point? It's looking like I probably can't, right? I think the thing is we don't need to trade it because gold is moving for us. It's moving really well, right?
It's moved back into the range now, so
Yeah, so we have definitely can trade it. Yeah, there's
I mean,
definitely.
personally, I found it easier looking at just one than looking at both.
Yeah, because then you also get used to one's price action. You don't have to think about, oh yeah, so what is the difference between gold and GJ, right? But yeah, I mean, if you gold, yeah, you can't get any buys, you can't get any sells at the moment. Just gonna have to watch price, unfortunately. This 15 is looking to close bullish. If it does come down, I mean, where's your next bullish? Your 15 range. I mean, if you start closing above like maybe above these areas, guys, like you may be able to take some buys 2011 towards 2014, but I'll need price to print something pretty aggressive, which is, let's say you get a closure above. Yeah, let's say you get a closure above here, right? What I'll need to see is price somehow, right, as it's pushing up to have, either steep bottom wicks as it's pushing up. So either, something that looks like this already to come up. And then once you get this, cool, I'll look for this off the rip to continue up to here, right? And then that'll be my range. I'll be stop loss to break even here. If not, if you just get kind of breakouts like this, oops, I'll need a steep bottom wick to come up, right? That's what I'll be looking for. Don't know if it's going to be this level. I've just put it there for, this looks like what it might reject around these areas, but I would expect, something around, it needs to break the daily low. That's the main thing. And if that's down here, then so be it, right? Is that the daily low? That's not even the daily low, is it? No. So yeah, I'm going to need it to come down at least, create a bottom wick, and then flip back up. That's what I'll need. If it doesn't do that, I can't take it. Do I have any recommendations for brokers? I mean, it depends on where you are. I think in the US you can't use this broker, but Blueberry Markets is typically pretty good. No commissions on gold, right? Low spreads as well. But I think like yeah, that's basically the only good broker that I've really used.
And then
German.
use Tom's link.
Oh yeah, does he still have the link?
Probably.
Yeah. I think in general, German brokers, unfortunately, I do not have much visibility over German brokers.
I need to move. I need to get a Blueberry account.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Yo,
Yo, how you doing? Are you driving, Jacob?
yeah,
Yeah, fair. No worries, mate.
yeah. I was in a meeting earlier. I was on the phone.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Psychology Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, we had a
Yeah.
couple, but it's all right. We always have. Oh, we do not have any more psychology Sundays until I come back in January, guys. So if you have any psychology questions, this is the best time to ask, right? Does anybody know what Wix uses? I unfortunately do not. I think, to be honest, though, whatever broker you use, just make sure
This
it's
is
like
Hanko, no?
maybe, right? But as long as you,
Henko isn't even on MT5 anymore or MetaTrader.
man,
Really,
no idea.
yeah. There is honestly, if you're a U.S. trader, it's like there's not a few. Like it's pretty difficult to trade right now, but it's possible because I'm trading. So.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what he uses. I think yeah, he does. He doesn't publicly share it, but as long as you kind of do your research behind it, or you know somebody who's like been using it for a while and they've not gone fucked over it, then yeah, that's fine. If you're outside the US, then you have more options, right? And I would say Blueberry is probably one of the top ones. Don's been using it for a while. He's had a lot of funds in there, and he's fine, right? He's withdrawn. He's done everything essentially that a broker needs to do, and he's done it fine. Yeah, guys, nothing I can do here, right? Can't take buys, can't take sells. I've shown you my levels, right? If we continue to respect 2000, then cool. Maybe I can get some trades, but what that's going to look like now is now we're at the top of the range for the hourly. All right, let me just drop down to 30 to show you. So let's say this 30 closes respecting here. That's fine as well. That's also good. I'm not as worried where the 30 is going to close, how bullish it is. As long as it's, within this range, it's fine. Even if it now flips bearish, I'm fine with it. All right. Let's say this candle closes like this with a top wick like this, right? Your next candle comes down. You're still respecting 2000. That's all I need. Next candle looks like this. I need this bullish candle, or a candle that doesn't break 2000 in terms of a closure. And as that happens, I'll look for bottom wick flip to fill this range back up and hold it towards those areas, right? So that's what I'm looking for. But if this doesn't happen, I cannot get into any trades. And I don't think you guys, if you're adapting to price action, you probably want to see something relatively similar, mainly because daily, 4 hour, hourly, 30, all no bottom wick, right? Weekly, no bottom wick. And also, I would say taking the sells, I don't think I can take the sells off the rip here either. Slightly difficult. If I would say the only way I can get into these sells to come down from 2004 is probably if we come up all the way, right? Let's say we have a bullish candle here. We come up to these areas, right? And then it's looking like, oh, okay, we don't have enough liquidity. Flipping back down. Get potential closures back into the range, right? And then I would say after that, probably looking for a top wick and then maybe a flip. And then what I'll look for is not even the top wick. I'll look for the break or the flip of the candle, or the, flip of the daily candle or the break of the previous low on this candle. But yeah, that's the overall structure I'll need. If not, I can't really take anything, guys. How many time frames do I focus on? Every time frame, right? When the hourly starts to align with what I'm looking for, then I'll start looking at the lower time frames as well. Or when it gets towards my sort of area. So you know how Don had a session where he was like, "Oh, am I hunting or am I not hunting?" At the moment, I'm not hunting, right? Just waiting. Do I mind sharing my broker? My broker is Blueberry Markets. Yeah, I think we said that just now. Yeah, I think there's just a bunch of broker issues at the moment, guys. Like, I guess the broker business is also bad.
Honestly, the first person who gets regulated in the U.S. for gold, or like 500 leverage, like basically like another blueberry in the U.S., is gonna have shit up.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
But then
spreads
I'm
will be high.
assuming the first person who does it, somebody else obviously follow that.
yeah.
I wonder what's actually stopping it.
Connor said it's some legislation. It makes it really expensive to handle US traders.
Yeah, it's a bunch of different things.
Can we not buy flip of the 15-minute as in the flip to go up? No, because your 15 currently has a top wick. It's just risky, right? I'm definitely not looking for it because your hourly no bottom wick, your daily 4-hour everything has no bottom wick. Wants to say it won't come down. But if it comes down, breaks the lows, and then comes back up, I'll look to have a buy above when it re-breaks that high. And you potentially get a closure on like the hourly or whatever above. But that's going to take at least another 40 minutes. I can't take another trade until then. Yeah, no buys, no liquidity from below. Basically, yeah. Like, if you just look at this range as well, you haven't established that this is a range. So wait for it to settle down. Like, whether that's going to be here, whether that's going to be just within this entire thing here, I don't know, right? But I don't know where it needs to grab liquidity from. For example, if it's going to start ranging in this massive area here, right, between here and here, then cool. After that, we'll be looking for liquidity outside of this range for us to push up, or liquidity outside of this range, right, around like these areas, or like above to drive down. But then this entire range here, I can't trade. Like this area, I can't trade. Unless very specific things happen, which will be, for example, it breaks all the highs, grabs liquidity, comes back into the range, or like a fake out or whatever, then maybe we can take those. But at the moment, there's nothing, guys. Also, the weekly's just opened up, so just chill out for a bit, and just watch price. You've come back to the charts, so just watch price for a little bit, enjoy your time, and then you may get some trades during Asian, I would say. Have I ever thought about using the 6-hour time frame?
What?
Guys,
So I
Wick's
use
using the 23-hour time.
the 23-minute time frame is my best friend, and you also have no top wick on the 23, so I can't take any trades. That's literally it, guys.
Why do you have a 23-minute time frame?
You have to have, it looks like you haven't tuned into Wix's stream before. Wix, I don't know if he still does it, man. 23-minute time frame, that was a classic. Basically, he was just trolling people. And he had a song specifically for it. Man, but that was ages ago, though. Do you know what that song is, Jacob? Fuck. Let me
I'm trying
search.
to think of a psychology question.
Yeah. Whatever psychology questions you guys have, feel free to drop them. Is a 69-minute time frame. Nah, 23 is forever going to be there. It's like, because these ones are the ones I've starred as well. Like, so I've created one for 23. But I never check it, guys. I don't actually use a 23-minute time frame. It doesn't actually do anything for me.
Oh, I remember my psychologist question.
Yeah.
I feel like the only reason you will feel the need to trade is if you're depending on trading as your only income.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, I was like, bro, you could take the whole next week off. You could take a whole month off, and like always know, like the markets are there whenever you come back. As long as you can refresh your trading and not lose all your knowledge when you do come back. Like there's no loss in not trading for a week
Yeah,
or
exactly.
trading for half. Right.
Exactly. Like, what would you prefer more, right? No, sorry. So, what would be worse, right? Not having an account the next week, or coming back in a month and having the same account size, right?
Right.
Obviously, having the same account and you'd still be able to trade it, right? And everything. That's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, we like trading. We love trading. We love learning how to trade. We love taking setups, taking trades, and whatever. Cool. But to do that, you need an account, right? So why would you over risk, or why would you, do something to jeopardize that? And, that's just taking trades which are either you're over risking, over leveraging, over like, something that's not to your plan or whatever. But I would say, yeah, that's the key thing, is just making sure that trade is going to put you in a situation where you continue to have an account for your next trade. If your risk for that trade is enough to potentially blow the account, then you can't trade the next time, right? And that's the worst feeling to have. How do you overcome FOMO? So, like, for example, when price was pushing up last Sunday, we took nothing. All of this,
We literally sat here and watched it.
we literally just sat here and watched it. If you go back to the stream, we had 204 people here just watching with us, price driving up. Literally nothing we can do, right? You could have taken buys going up, you would have made money, right? But no, none of that is my plan, because I don't know where my TP is. I don't know where my stop loss is. Where am I going break even, right? If I get into a buy and it starts coming down, I've just fucked my account. I can't do that, right? Because I want my account to continue trading. That's why I didn't take anything, right? If prices moved 300 pips in the last 3 seconds, then what's not to say that it will move another 300 pips in the next 2 seconds? Do I want to lose my entire account in 2 seconds? Right? At that point, it's literally a 50-50. And also spreads were high. Like, you couldn't have taken anything, I would say. Logically, if you want your account, you can't take anything. A break has the risk of coming back and not following good habits you developed. To speak from experience, yeah, I would say, yeah, there's a chance. Like, even sometimes when I've like not been able to trade a couple days plus the weekend, and I come back and it's like, oh, I feel a little bit rusty. But I think that's where the analysis comes in. Once you do like an actual analysis, all right, you understand exactly, like, okay, I'm looking for this, right? Then cool. There's a lot higher chance that after you do the analysis, you'll know exactly what you're looking for, and then things will start kind of kicking in again. But until that, it can be difficult. I would say it's also a little bit of experience there. Yeah, as you just get used to the charts. Yeah, you're 2110 cells, brother. You're you're telling me. Let us just go back real quick. You said this was something you were looking for. 211. What is it? 2110 cells.
2110. What?
So are you
Oh,
saying
what? Break the lows.
2110? So here. So okay, you were looking for these cells here, right? On the 5-minute time frame. That means your stops are above this candle high. Cool. Let's measure that, brother. Oh yeah, my stop loss is 400 pips. No, I can't, right? But I see what you mean, right? The 5-minute did print that structure, but we can't just trade the 5-minute, right? We need to trade all the time frames. I need to see the same thing happening in the 15, same bias happening on the 30, the hourly, and everything, right? And also after this massive push here, that was happening like what, 20 minutes ago? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know you didn't take it, but yeah, I think in terms of just when you have candles this big, which you've never had before, I would say it's, yeah, stay off the charts sort of moment. But I'm glad we had those 200 people there, right? Just waiting with us to see where prices was going to settle. That was good practice, guys, honestly. That's why DVS is going to be on top, right? So many traders would have FOMO'd in. So many. I think also a way you can understand if you're actually dealing with FOMO is when you start feeling FOMO less. For example, previously, right, when I was still learning, I was like, haven't really started trading Don's strategy yet. I would like occasionally, oh yeah, there's news there. Oh no, sorry, this was after I first found Don. Within like the first 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So I realized on gold, there's this thing called news. Oh, let me trade that shit, man. There's so much volume there. And then I get into a trade and be like, oh wow, that was incredible. And I get into another trade the next day and lose everything, right? And then essentially that's like, oh, you just see the
Bro,
markets
have
push.
you ever have you ever made money on news like that? And then made like $2,000 in one day and like think you're the man, and then like you said, come the next day and lose it all.
No, I've never made that much, man. Like I was literally
Bro,
trading
I've
my
I've done that before. Like I said, like the man, and then come the next day and then lose it all,
the
and
only
then realize,
logical the only logical like way you could trade news in my point of view is if you literally had like an account size where it was like, yeah, if you lost it, it literally doesn't matter. Like for me, maybe like a $10 account or whatever. And you just like trade news and you just bump it up, and then you once you have it above 10 or whatever, just withdraw the 10. Right? And then after that, you have an account which is, just it's basically your stops to break even, right? But because you've literally withdrawn it. Um,
You just take like 20% out every week or something.
yeah, or like something that just ensures that you definitely not losing all that money. But honestly, trading news is like that was FOMO, right? Because you saw price just push, and it's like, "Whoa, fuck, I really want to get in because that's just an opportunity for us to make money. But now it's like, I look at news, I'm like, I really don't want to trade that. Partially because I understand what it could do to my account if I'm wrong, and also partially because it's just not interesting to me anymore. I want to see where price is going, but yeah, it's just like if it pushes, then cool. Like you'll feel it over time. Yeah, exactly. Like you can take, you can flip your account to a certain amount, and then you'll lose it all on news, and it's like, is that really worth it? How much time was I spending on that phase? I would say, I think I took 3 news trades in like, no, like 4 news trades in total. The first news trade, I told Don, I was like, oh fuck, I traded news and I lost. And the next trade, I think I won money. And then by the fourth one, I was like, okay. I told Don, I was like, yeah, Don, I'm not trading news anymore. And from that point, I just never traded. I think it was like within like 2 3 weeks.
yeah, that shit took me fucking months.
Yeah, but it depends, right? Like, because I stopped trading news because I understood that like if I continued to trade news, there's no future for my trading.
But I understood that too, and still did it. Like
No, but
up
the fact
until
that
like last month, up until like last month, I didn't like. I barely got over that like impulsiveness switch
mm,
was.
but now look at you now, right?
It's been like a month since you blew an account.
Yeah, I think that's like it's the longest it's been, bro.
But
Like I feel
that's the
good.
thing. Like you're slowly also understanding that like it's just not fun, right? That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Because you'll feel really good and you'll feel really shit afterwards.
yeah, it's never worth it.
And then eventually you just like, I think like even now, most of, I think like Dawn, myself, Huss, and like all the streamers, we were just like, news just doesn't interest us. Right? We're just like, "Ugh, like I don't want to trade that. Like physically, it's like I have no urge to trade news or like anything that's kind of relatively FOMO-y.
It's like you don't have where you don't have control. Like you can't actually have any control when news happens.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you were looking for those 15 buys, unfortunately, it is coming down.
Oh no.
But your 30 has closed above, has no top wick. Any given point, it could flip up. You're only 4 minutes in. But what I'll need to see is probably a fill back down to these areas on your 30, because you haven't established a bottom of your range yet on the 30, right? Your 15 also doesn't have really a bottom of the range yet. Your hourly, 4-hour, daily also doesn't have bottom wick, right? So as you're flipping down, I don't know if that's going to be a buy, right? So if it does close back above 2007 later on the 5 or the 15, after coming down to these areas, right, then cool, yeah, I'll look to take some buys. But until then, I can't. I'd say if you start ranging in these areas, right, within this 50 pip range for a while, and then you eventually get a breakout below, or some sort of candle which looks like this, where you get like a closure below, all right, and then your next candle is like pushing, and then it flips, right, and you start getting, you get like a closure back into the range, something like this, but with like a steeper bottom wick, and cool, I'll look for a breakout above here, and I'll take this up. But depending on how steep this wick is, I may also need a bottom wick here for us to continue up, yeah? If this is very steep, for example, if it breaks these lows, then I may have this off the rip. But that's what it looks like at the moment. This is what we mean by adapting to price. At the moment, I am still not hunting because you're still in the range. Nothing has happened. That's 1,000 pip range wick. It is not. I think it's 100 pips, not 1,000, mate. But yeah, like I think it was like if you're in these areas, as long as you break some lows, if it comes down to these areas, not necessarily in one candle, right? If it just kind of comes down, it's the 15-minute candle, like that wick is probably going to be like a 4-hour wick or whatever. On the 5 and the 15 is going to be range coming down, right? So yeah, it's a wick on the 4-hour potentially, right? But lower time frames range. You also learn the hard way with news. Yeah, I think everybody learns the hard way with news. But once you get to a point where it's like, yeah, like you just look at news, it's like, okay, cool, news is coming out. So what, right? Then it's like, yeah, that's kind of, what you're on your way to mastering FOMO. There are also other cases where, like, for example, price is driving after grabbing liquidity, and then you're kind of looking for an entry to get in. I'll say that's where there's a little bit of difference between FOMO and looking for an entry, right? Because price is driving, it's grabbed liquidity, it wants to drive. So, right? Yeah. So we want to get in, but understanding that we just need to wait for that entry point. Yeah, I chose this session mainly because it's more of a time for people to kind of evaluate, like kind of review what happened in the previous week, what actually happened like at the start of the week. But it's very difficult to get trades within this kind of period between market opening and Asian session, because there's just very low amounts of volume. Plus, when you do have the volume from like the weekly open or whatever, you could get a gap, and that's hard to trade. Yeah. But tomorrow I should be on time for what is it, the members only breakdown, because I cannot play any sport at the moment.
Sorry.
Nah, that's fair enough, man. Are you just gonna reject here and then come down? That would be nice, right? You get this mirror to come down to these areas, and then after that, right, if you then get buys above, then cool, I could look for that. But if not, if it starts breaking this low again, you may get some sells to mirror this. But this was bullish to come up, and this is bearish to come down. So we'll see. Don't FOMO into trades. Champ Gaming Zone says hi, Jacob.
What's up, champ?
We have 81 people in here. What's everybody doing? I feel like everybody. Oh wow! Like I feel like there's more people free towards like the end of the session, and they're coming.
Later in the US.
Yeah. Why is it that people start? I mean, for the people who have just joined in the last like 10, 20 minutes, is it because you guys are too busy to join like an hour earlier? Because I occasionally, when I have time, I try to start the stream an hour, like, oh, no, sorry, like 10, 15 minutes early so that people can, have more time to join and whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody who's joined in the last 10,
For
20
me,
minutes who would say that.
at least, you
Yeah.
start a little bit earlier, catches me. Like, even though it's 15 minutes, I think exactly at 4:30 works perfect.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like
that's what
10:30 for you or 9:30?
yeah, 10:30. I mean, I
It's
tried to
11:30.
start at right now it's like 11:30, yeah. But I'm trying to start at like a relatively slightly more flexible time, but like just within that, 10, 15 minute window because then there's consistency and, you know, people can expect that to happen at that specific time, right? If not, then if it's like dawn, it's kind of like all over the place. It's slightly more annoying to see. Legit, man.
Bro
It's
doesn't get.
I literally just ignore it until at least an hour after we started.
bruh. But then sometimes he starts like immediately, and it's like, well, bro, what? I've just missed the
And then
entire
it sells.
analysis.
All right, chat. You know what I'm doing?
I'm gonna, and then you miss a trade.
And then he goes, I'm done for the day.
Literally, though. Yeah.
When Dom gets up to 100 lots, he's going to be looking for the 1 pip trades.
I think when he gets to 100 lots, what's that? 10 pips is 10K?
That's insane.
Yeah.
10 pips.
10 pips is 10K, yeah.
That's crazy.
But I don't know if Blueberry allows 100 lot trades. Another
But he
7
can
years?
also just open multiple positions.
Yeah, he could just stack.
Which,
I mean, it depends on what he's looking to do.
honestly, he's already popped the 100 lots.
Yeah, when he's stacking, yeah. But it's different when it's like you actually are opening a 100 lot trade or versus
Yeah.
like
Because
multiple
it's just
30
like
lots.
if he stacked 100 lots, that's insane. That's like
Yeah.
uh,
The thing is, like with that, you need to have an account size, like not like his,
A million.
total balance, right? But just the account needs to have a substantial amount of money in there so that you don't just blow the account.
mm-hmm.
Like you can't trade that with like 100K inside because then you will blow the account with risk.
Yeah.
What is the margin? Is it like 80%?
I don't know. He trades 30 on 300k though, so.
No, as in like so for example, if you're on like your MT5 or whatever, how like if you're on your live, what percentage does it need to go down to before it just closes all the positions and stops?
Honestly, I don't know, bro. Like,
It just stops,
I don't
right?
know what to say.
I
Yeah,
don't
something
know.
like 80%, I think. Where it's just like, yeah, okay, you have no more money for you to continue this
Some
trade.
brokers don't even have a. It's called like equity protector. Some brokers don't even have that.
Yeah, yeah.
What, so you then owe the broker money?
Right. I feel like, but I don't think many brokers actually do not. That don't have the option or just don't.
Well,
You know
then
what I
they're
mean?
gonna. That's just like court fees then. Good luck.
Yeah,
Skip paying,
honest.
may as well
But
just close
I think
the
it's
door
more
and
of a
avoid
headache
it.
for them, right?
yeah, like
Yeah.
imagine
It's
like
so
if
much
I
work. You have to like send bailiffs around and stuff. It takes a
yeah,
lot of
imagine I open like a $10 account and then I pop like 100 lots and it just goes into drawdown. Like then what?
Right. Right.
Then
Exactly.
they're fucked.
You're
Or like
fucked.
me, bro. I remember I was holding the position one time on like a 50,000. It was a gambled account. It was like at 50,000, and then the account shot up over. I think it was when the Ukraine war first started, and
Right.
the account went to like negative 21,000.
Oh my
But it
god.
was on Hanko trade, and I was in
Negative
a sell
21K.
over the weekend.
Ah,
Yeah, not the best position to be in. Oh shit, it's nearly 12. Right, guys, I'm probably gonna call it a day. Yeah, we're gonna have a members only tomorrow. That will be the last one before the holidays, but I'll see you guys both there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. See you guys. Have a good rest of the
See you,
day.
bro.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, and everybody on the YouTube live, thanks for joining up. We've peaked at 84 people today, which is fantastic. Yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the analysis, understood the analysis. That's the key thing, right? If you understood the analysis, you'll come back the next day, you'll reinforce that learning. So I'm expecting to see all of you, at least for the next session, which is, I think, Asian session. Then you'll probably also have Dawn session that you'll mainly go to. But yeah, like as long as you continue coming to these DVS sessions, you'll start getting a better understanding of what we're looking for, right? What the strategy is, right? What is a good trade and what's a bad trade? When do you want to look for a trade? When do you not? And all of that good stuff. So in general, I would say all of you all of you that have come and stayed for the entire duration, that's a massive W, right? You've just got an insane amount of value, right? A lot of learning about the strategy, and so put it into good use, right? Go into the charts. Don't FOMO into anything, right? Wait for your setup, wait for your entry, and then take and execute, right? And after that, journal, right? I didn't build the journal for nothing, guys. Like journaling is a massive part of this, right? You journal, you understand what's going on, you can recreate it, right? If you don't, it's just some mad concept in your head, right? Nothing's actually happened, right? Trade might have just not existed, right? Because it's not part of a plan. So that's why you journal, right? But essentially, that's it. I will see you guys back on Tuesday night. But if anybody wants to join membership, I'm probably gonna start recruiting again in January. We kind of closed it off because we had a lot of people already towards the end of this year. But I'll start, opening it up again. So I'll drop the price, I think, so people can start joining back in. But I want to set a limit on it because if there's too many people, I can't, engage with everybody. But that's kind of that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the session, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Peace.